Do you want to bring us up to speed, David, squad-wise?
Squad-wise, Gavin's got a 20 centimetre tear in his hamstring, so it's a work in progress. I don't know about timescale. We don't really want to put too much in the paper with the boy because he's absolutely devastated, but it's not a good one. It's not what I wanted to hear.
That's a bad one. 20 centimetres?
20 centimetre tear. I don't think, to be honest, I've heard anything as bad as it. It's not off the bone, so the ligament's okay, and the tendon, it's a slight bit off the bone, but it's not too bad. Like normally the hamstring can come off the bone through the tendons, but the tear, so it's not great, but it's not the worst. But it's
is that season ending, David? We spoke to you after the Rangers game. I mean, you thought it might be. Is that definitely season ending?
That's potentially I hope to see you in pre-season.
As bad as that?
Aye, that's a 4-monther. 4-monther, give or take how quick he heals.
Has he had hamstring trouble before? Is this just a new thing?
Not that I know of, but he is that type of, see when you see boys' bodies like Scott Tiffany, wee Tiff, they've got low body fats, they've got a lot of muscle mass, their bodies always look quite pumped. There's a real definition about them. It's like a sprinter's body. So quite tight because there's not a lot of fat in their muscle, and although you've got to have a certain percentage of fat, some boys I think have got too little fat. They're too conditioned because you've got to have a wee bit of fat in the muscle, which gives the muscle a wee bit more elasticity. Elastic. It makes it a bit more pliable in the muscle. So. I think he said wee bits and bobs. He's quite, the way Gav plays football is quite explosive. So everything Gav's movement's 5 and 10 yards, he's really explosive. And that's what you generally find with strikers that are quite explosive. Like Brophy's one that's very, very similar. Do you know what I mean? He can pick up a couple of hamstring injuries a year.
Any other team news?
Big Gibral's work permit shouldn't be too far away, I'm told, but we've been getting told that for 4 weeks. That should be in the next 5 days, but we've had to go back to the Home Office. It's been an absolute nightmare. So I'm hoping early next week the work permit will be through.
In terms of this weekend, I mean, it's the sort of task ahead is very simple. A point does it, gets you into confirms your place in the top 6. But I take it you'll want the boys to go out with the mindset of let's get 3.
Don't get 3 points, but we've been disappointing, let's be honest. We've been disappointing since the Dundee United game. We've not been at it. Obviously there's different reasons why you lose games in football, but we need to get back to what we were doing previously very, very quickly. So that leads into Saturday, and we need to take the positives into Saturday, and we know what we can do as a squad. We know what we can do. We've proven what we can do, so we need to get back to doing that, and as quickly as possible. I'm not going out to get a point. I'm going out to get 3 points, and hopefully, I do think once we secure top 6, I think the boys will settle down a wee bit. On reflection, I think the cup finals probably had a bigger impact on the last 4 or 5 games, and personally what I thought it would have had, and personally it's not had it with me or the staff, but on reflection, looking back, I think it's played a part in recent performances, if I'm honest. And it's not me looking for an out for the boys, because I've got to give credit to the opposition as well, but I do think it's had a wee impact on them.
Spooked you in a sense?
Pardon?
Has it spooked you in a sense, the cup final, just taking you away from that sort of mindset you had go up to it?
It's not spooked me, because I didn't feel any different. The boys going into the game, I didn't see anything different at training. But something's changed. Something's changed, because the couple of games before the cup final, we weren't ourselves. And then a couple of games after the cup final, we've not been ourselves. Cup final was a cup final. I don't think It was a set play that won the game. It was a Sean Rooney header. So I don't think it was anything special in the game that you can put it down to we never played well, or they done this or they done that. They scored for a set play, end of. So potentially, but I never seen that, to be honest. I never seen that with the boys. So maybe I'm giving them a wee bit of an out there. I don't know. But again, you've got to give the opposition credit as well. But focus on us, and it's what we do. We've got to go out on Saturday and we've got to be looking to pick 3 points up. But Brian Rice is going to be the exact same. You've got no divine right to go out on a Saturday and pick 3 points up. You've got to work for everything you get in the Premier League.
Is this an illustration of how sometimes tight the league can be, or I guess maybe small margins? Because you've gone from probably, I don't know, the best run in the club's history when you had that massive unbeaten run, and then this last run, 6 without wins, your worst of the season?
I think a bit of both, Kerridon, if I'm honest. I think it's a bit of both. I think small margins, fine lines change games, and if we all drop 5-10% as an individual, it's going to affect the collective massively. So we've not got that luxury in that we can afford 2 or 3 boys to be on that park and not quite at it. We need everybody at 90% and above to get anything from games of football. But it also shows you the strength of the Premier League. You look at Rangers, who have ran away with the league. They scored a late goal to beat us, albeit they had a penalty denied. They scored a late goal to beat us. We had a good few chances in the game, and previously to that, they had a 1-1 draw with Hamilton, and Hamilton probably were unlucky not to win the game. So I think it's a wee bit of both. I think there's strength in the Premier League, and near the business end of the season, I think you can see the teams that are a wee bit lower down in the table, their game plan's starting to come together. They seem to be picking up results. You know, Ross County and Kilmarnock, good game of football that one was. Ross County beat Celtic before 3-2. So I think it's testament to how strong the league is, to be honest. But I think a lot of that does come from, we're at the business end of the season, and everybody needs to be bang at it, for wanting a better word.
Perspective is needed as well, isn't it? Because I'm guessing if somebody had given you, right, you've got 2 games to get 1 point to get top 6. If you were offered that at the start of the season, Livingston were offered that, you'd have taken it.
Kerridon, see, our quality, you're never going to go on the trajectory. You keep winning games of football. It's impossible for us to do that. Now, we went on a great unbeaten run, but before that, we weren't on a great run. So I do believe there's cycles in football. At the start of the year, and when I took over, if I'd finished 10th, I would have been delighted to stay in the Premier League, to have the opportunity in your own hands to be in the top 6, and you've reached a National Cup final and you're still in another National Cup. I think a wee bit of perspective's needed, yeah, I do.
I wonder what you make of Hamilton as well. To me, they've actually been really good recently.
Yeah. I think, again, I speak to Chipper quite a bit, to be honest, and they don't change. For me, Hamilton do what they do for the first game to the 38th game. Nothing changes. They're going to lose games of football and they're going to win games of football. But there's good owners at that football club and they understand that. Hamilton only go and put 7, 8, 9, 10 games unbeaten. Neither should we have. But I think they're down there every year and they know what it's all about. And they always come out fighting. They always... Was it something tail end of last year as well, before COVID hit? They picked up a couple of wee victories as well that kind of kicked them on in the league. So they're good at what they do. They're a good football club. They've got good owners, and I think Chipper's a very good football manager. And the boys are as honest as the day's long. It's very similar to ourselves, to be honest.
And David, back-to-back top 6. You know, what would that mean for a club like Livingston?
I think it'd be brilliant, but again, put a bit of perspective there. I think there'll be no doubt there'll be fans that are disappointed, but you've not won the cup final, you're maybe not sitting in 4th. But I think it's phenomenal for a club our size. First year in the Premier League, we finished 9th. Second year in the Premier League, we finished 5th, albeit COVID had a part to play in that. And then this year in the Premier League, third year in the Premier League, we're sitting 5th. So I think you've got a bit of perspective there. I think it'd be brilliant for the football club. I do. And the extra money that involves is going to help the football club moving forward, because there's been a lot of revenue lost this year. So it's my job to try and finish as high as possible in the league.
that mean anything for you in terms of your budget?
Probably not. Probably not. My budget, I'll be honest, I've told everybody my budget's 12. So how the budget works at Livingston Football Club is whatever 12th position gets in the league this year, that will be my budget next year. So if we go down the following year, we're 12, the club's not losing thousands of pounds, and every single player that signs at Livingston's got a relegation clause in their contract, because we can't afford to pay the wages if we drop down to the Championship. Our budget would probably go from 1.2 million, 1.17 million to roughly £400,000. £400,000. When we got promoted to Championship, budget was 375,000. And when we won League One, the budget was 275,000. So we probably had one of the better budgets in League One, to be honest, and we were a full-time club. And then we probably had one of the worst budgets in the Premier League, albeit Brecon were in there, so wouldn't have been too far away. So, in the Championship, sorry. So, budget's always 12. Whatever 12 is, we don't get the cup money. Don't get cup money, don't get anything else, or don't get season ticket money, because all that's needed to pay all the other bills throughout the year. So, obviously, it's a revenue stream that us as a football club, if we could 500 season ticket holders onto the gate, it'd be fantastic. I think then the club would look at shifting that money over. And we sold London in the summer, but all it done was cover costs. That's just money we've lost. We've probably lost, I think John said, 55% of our revenue, and our revenue is around £3 million a year. And we've basically pulled that in for selling London, albeit there's a lot of fees that come off that with agents' fees and stuff, and South sell on.
You talked about maybe the players being a bit on edge. David, do you think if you get that top 6 spot, that will kind of loosen them up again?
I hope so. That's the plan. That's the narrative. Again, I'm a big believer in psychology. I think psychology plays a big part, especially in dressing room cultures when you're dealing with 30 different players and you've got 10 different coaching staff, so to speak. I think psychology is massive. So that's the narrative that I'm going to be spinning, if I'm honest, because when that day comes, hopefully you get a wee kick from that. But I do believe when we get, hopefully if we can secure it, I think it'll settle the players a wee bit.
Just ask you about Marvin Bartley when he came off at the weekend. Was there an issue there?
Aye, he was rubbish. Make sure you print that. To be fair, we were chasing the game. Marv had played, that was our third game in 7 days, and Marv had played like the St Johnstone game, he's played the Rangers game, so I'm always wary and try to look after players, and Marv's at that age, he's now 33, and I try to look after him, if I'm honest. But we were chasing the game, and Marv's not going to score as a goal, so I was trying to put more offensive midfielders on than a defensive midfielder, and he was rubbish.
Just because I was asking, because I saw his reaction, obviously no one likes to be hooked.
Marv is all right. Marv's brand new. I don't mind players being... There's a way to channel that aggression. And Marv's part of the we. It's not an individual. See, if you come off the park and you want to act like an individual, that tells me everything. If we're losing a game of football and you come off the park and you're in a huff or whatever, I just think it's petulance. And you became an individual within a squad environment. Because if we were winning the game of football and I took you off, I'll guarantee you were shaking everybody's hands. Does that make sense? So as soon as I start seeing the collective becoming about the individual, there'll not be this football club.
Does it work both ways, Davie? Are the players like to tell you when you've been rubbish? Gaffer, that was the wrong team, you were rubbish today.
I don't mind. I've got to take a share of the blame as well, haven't I? Like, I've been at a club 7 years. I've made lots of mistakes, and I will keep making mistakes. But how I kind of see it is, as long as you get more right than you get wrong, you should be in a no bad position. Not one of us are going to be able to get it correct all the time, and especially when you're Livingston in the Premier League with the budget you've got, it's always going to be difficult. But I think, again, a wee bit of perspective is needed. But honestly, I'll sit real reflecting on Monday morning, and if I think I've got something wrong, I'll hold my hands up. I'm not shy with doing that, because I'm part of the collective. I am part of the collective, and how can I ask my players to do that if I'm not willing to do that? Now, don't get me wrong, you maybe don't get players going, Gaffer, you were terrible, or Gaffer, you done this wrong. But I'm fairly open, and I can take that in the chin. And I can come in and I'll say, look, I think I could have maybe have done that better. I think I could have maybe have done that better. And I've took the fair share over the last 4 games with the boys privately. I've took my fair share of the blame.
So you're quite upfront with them, probably more upfront than most managers.
I think the boys, I think I get the best out of the boys, but again, it's some players aren't used to the honesty. You can maybe call it brutal at times, but I would always be honest, because no matter what level of football you play, all you wanted when you were a player was the manager to be honest with you. I used to hate that. I'll come in, we're going to rest you today, we'll just change it. Just tell me if I was crap. If I was crap last week, just tell me, because then I can go and work on it. At least I know what I've done wrong to go and work on it. And I've seen it in football all these years. I'll always be honest with the players. And some players have got big enough shoulders and they take that, and you find that they kick on in their career. And some players don't like that. Just modern society. But I ran businesses, I've had businesses in any walk of life. I try to be honest with people. I don't understand why you wouldn't be honest with another human being. How are they meant to fix their mistakes, or how are they meant to get better? For wanting a better word, if you're talking a lot of rubbish to them. So I would rather be honest with them.
Would you be honest with us if our questions were crap?
Probably. I do. Like, I'll be honest, I spoke to Derek about this before. Or sometimes you get an interview after the game and you're like, you've got so much to say or stuff you would like to talk about, but it just, you don't get led down that path, if that makes sense. Then there's other times you get interviewed after the game and they ask you decent questions where you can put a wee bit more detail into your answer, opposed to the post-generic match questions. So I think you've got to get your fingers out and start asking better questions.
Especially Big Raman.
I never heard you, honestly.
Especially Big Raman.
David, see in the wider game, are you worried at all for the rest of the season, given what the government's been saying about potentially cancelling games, or is that just related to those 2 teams?
Honestly, I don't understand what Rangers were meant to do. I honestly don't. We all know, we're all football people. I was sitting debating it with somebody the other day, and I thought, you know what? Thank God we're in lockdown when that happened. Because can you imagine if we weren't in lockdown? I think that city centre would have been absolutely jumping, and I think it would have been a bit of violence through a lot of different people congregating in one area. We were pretty fortunate that it was probably just Rangers supporters that were out in whatever day was it? Was it Sunday or Saturday? Sunday. Does that make sense? Like, obviously everybody knows my background. I've been to prison. See the amount of people that are in prison through Rangers and Celtic games. It's incredible. People that have lost their lives, or people that have committed a murder or drink-fueled violence, somebody's been stabbed. Honestly, there's more than you would care to imagine. And I think being in a lockdown, I actually think it helped us slightly, because it was just Rangers supporters enjoying their occasion. You never had a mix of all different types of people and all different fans congregating with them, because we're all out on a Saturday night or a Sunday night in the town. So to a certain degree, but I don't understand what Rangers were meant to have done better. I don't know how you control that. I really don't. I'm lucky I've only got 600 fans.
The government's threat of pulling the plug on the Old Firm game seems a real one. What would that mean for Scottish football if that did happen?
I think it would be disappointing. Because I think we're all big enough and ugly enough. I might be talking out of school here, I don't know. But I don't believe the Rangers and Celtic game's going to have the same proportion of people that had on Sunday. I think the fans have enjoyed their occasion. They've waited 10 years for that to happen. So it'd be really disappointing, because I don't think we're going to see the same level of people. Is it at Ibrox or Parkhead? Parkhead. I don't think you'll see the same level of people, to be honest. I don't think the Celtic supporters would care if Rangers supporters are there, and I wouldn't see Celtic supporters going down, and I can't see a lot of Rangers supporters turning up, if I'm honest. I hope not anyway. I hope not. And hopefully the government's announcements have made people be a wee bit more realistic, and hopefully they stay away from the stadium, because I don't think it would be great for any as if two sets of fans turn up to the game, to be honest. But I don't think, hopefully it's a threat to keep people away. That's how I would like to see it. That's maybe wishful thinking.
Good man.
Is
Very good.
that okay?
Thanks,
Good
David.
answers.
Right,
Good
cheers.
answers.